Not like I have any interest in doing a podcast that's true crime or investigative things and all this other stuff, but some of these stories that are out now, you can't help it. Like, you can't help ask questions and look at investigations, because I think there's a larger issue here. This whole Savannah Guthrie's mom, Nancy Guthrie investigation, it is an absolute mess. And didn't you always think, like, especially somebody that's high profile, and it's a fair question why she's getting so much attention, you know, it's just kind of human nature the way it works. Didn't you always think that if somebody was related to a high-profile person like Savannah Guthrie, they'd either find her, good news or bad news, almost immediately? Didn't you always think like that would... Maybe not. I mean, it's kind of horrifying to think, but maybe our... I blame the FBI or CIA, but maybe our investigative like resources aren't exactly what we thought they were. I don't know. And then, to follow up on that, maybe we should stop doubting conspiracy theorists, or what we used to call conspiracy theorists. Because this Curt Cobain story, you all know Curt Cobain from Nirvana, died in 1994, and we were told the whole time the official answer was from the King County, Washington State investigators was that this was a suicide. Nothing ever matched up with a suicide on that. And now there's an independent forensic analysis of that, and they've determined that it was a homicide. Everybody I know since 1994, everybody that I know that has looked into this, not looked into it officially, just has an opinion on it, you know, being a music fan, Nirvana fan, or what, never believed the official answer. And maybe they were right the whole time. I don't know. Also, it looks like Trump is hopeful on the SAVE Act, and we have another whiny U.S. Olympian. I'm telling you guys, if the communication director, the media relations director for the U.S. Olympic team isn't fired over this, the Summer Olympics in L.A. are going to be an absolute mess. Anyway, well, let's get to it. Thanks for finding Wicked Radio. I appreciate you. As always, thanks for finding the live stream Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on X and YouTube and on Facebook and all that good stuff. Let's get right to it. This is, Nancy, I didn't have any interest in covering this thing because my initial thought at the beginning was this is going to be like really bad. I'm like really afraid of this. This is going to be scary. They're going to find this lady and horrible, and they still might. But the investigation has got me asking questions. And I've heard this question a lot. My younger daughter actually asked this question. You know, there are so many people that are missing on a daily basis. Why is this lady getting so much attention? Fair question. I guess human nature being what it is, because she's related to a famous person. Her daughter is Savannah Guthrie. That's totally fair. So it's just kind of the way it works. Also, there's this, though. The bizarre circumstances around the investigation of this. I have to say, I know there's good people working on this. They're doing the best they possibly can. And I said it last week. I think it was last Wednesday or something. It's nice to see people rallying around, despite what you think of Savannah Guthrie. And she's no friend of, President Trump, that's for sure. Neither was her mom, apparently. You hate to see anybody, any family going through this, regardless of what the circumstances are. But then yesterday, this development happens. We all saw this picture of the bizarre, I guess they recovered forensically somehow, the Ring doorbell camera. There was that creepy guy kind of dismantling the camera. He's in a ski mask, and it was in black and white, and this was a big investigation. Then last night, the news happens that I think it was the FBI or local cops somewhere south of Tucson pulled over a guy and arrested and detained him for questioning. And then released him and said, I had nothing to do with it. I don't even know who the hell this is. And then the most bizarre thing of all is that guy's mother does a live interview with CNN on the street outside of the house, which is something you never see. And it went like this.
No, they came out telling us that they had somebody gave a tip that the lady was in my house. I don't know her name. ¿Cómo se llama?
Nancy Guthrie?
That we don't know. We don't know her at all. I don't know who she is. I don't know anything about her. They only said that.
It was, even CNN was blown away. They went back to the anchors and they said, apparently we're talking to the alleged suspect's mom who's been released. Let's go to her now. They couldn't believe she was talking because the lady, human nature being what it is, she just said, I don't know what the hell this is. And then they found the guy. He's finally back home after they released him. He's like, I have no idea what this is, but I felt like I thought I was being kidnapped. This whole investigation is so bizarre.
You were apprehended for questioning. How would you describe what happened to you?
Terrifying. Something I didn't do for something. I was being like, I felt like I was being kidnapped, bro. Because they didn't tell me anything at the beginning.
And investigators showed up to this house, or were you the one who was pulled over in the traffic stop?
I was the one that was pulled over at the traffic stop.
Where was that?
Right here on by Chubasco.
Okay, and you were taken into custody.
I felt like I was getting kidnapped, bro. That's his comment on it. Just so bizarre. And it's been bizarre since the beginning of this entire thing. Now, here's somebody I saw last week, and I saved this video, this little interview clip, because this kind of lines up with, I think, what a lot of us are thinking. There's something wrong with this. Not to blame the investigators. I'm sure they're trying their best. But something just doesn't add up on this. I don't know what it is. I'm not an investigator either. But this guy's name is Paul Cialino. So he's a investigator. He's a contributor to CBS. He's worked with 48 Hours before. He knows this stuff. And he said, now, this was before they even found this guy and released him or talked to the mom in the street. He said last week, the end of last week, nothing in this entire case even lines up.
I don't think she was kidnapped. We would have heard, listen, there would have been a video, there would have been a photograph, there would have been something, a lock of hair, a drop of blood, something mailed to somebody so they could verify, yes, in fact, these people have my mother. Kidnappers want to get paid quickly. They don't want this thing to linger. If you're negotiating with another drug dealer in South America somewhere, it could go on for a few weeks, a month, until they get bored and decide this is not worth it. And it's either pay up or we're going to kill this person. And it's always a negotiation, right? The first figure they throw out is never what actually gets paid, like any good business deal. There's going to be a negotiation, but it's going to be a fast and hard one. And there's been no negotiations. No one's called.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm no investigator either. I'm not even that much into true crime, but this is just so bizarre, and we're hit with it every single day. Again, is it fair that somebody who's well-known or connected to somebody that's famous gets so much media attention? No, it also hasn't helped. Just a bizarre, bizarre thing. All right, again, and I repeat it again, not like I ever wanted to do a true crime podcast, but people are fascinated by this stuff. Probably because it's this never-ending search for truth. We just want to get the truth, right? And speaking of truth, since 1994, I literally, maybe you're the same way, my entire life, whenever the subject of Curt Cobain, remember Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit, massive band, early 90s, Curt Cobain died in 1994. I mean this literally. I've never had a conversation with anybody ever about the conversation that believed that was a suicide. It's just talk about nothing adding up, ever. And now, lo and behold, maybe, and those people were always called conspiracy theorists, always. How many times have conspiracy theorists been right about a lot of stuff? And possibly, maybe, on this one too. Because now, get that, and I want to make sure I get my facts right, because this one is very detailed. Now, there's new forensic analysis that claims Curt Cobain's 1994 death, that's how long this has been going on, was a homicide, not suicide. And it's not just like some, a couple of CSI wannabe podcasters doing this whole thing. It's a peer-reviewed paper in the International Journal of Forensic Science. New evidence, not so much, but new technology. They're challenging the official ruling of Curt Cobain's death, which, if you happen to remember this story back in 1994, immediately, with no questions asked, was ruled a suicide. And nothing really added up. Shotgun? Really? Anyway, forensic specialists reviewed the autopsy and crime scene. The conclusion was this is a homicide, and they said without any doubt whatsoever. The findings? Here you go. Organ damage consisting with oxygen deprivation from a heroin overdose, not gunshot death. What? Unusually clean hands despite shotgun blast. Shell casings found in an impossible location. Heroin kit, even though he was a heroin addict, but still. Heroin kit, neatly organized. Blood on his shirt suggesting the body was moved. Suicide note? The researchers say the top portion discusses quitting the band. The final 4 lines appear to be in different handwriting. Seattle PD, which did the investigation, and medical examiner both declined to reopen the case ever. I remember that, despite calls for this. Researchers demanding arrests. So here's what's happening because of this. They're reopening the case to take a look at it, to see what actually did happen. So here's my takeaway on this. Okay, how many times? Not every time. We've all got some friends that will believe any possible conspiracy theory just to get attention. We all know that, right? But honestly, ask yourself, how many times have the so-called conspiracy theorists been right about stuff? Look at it. Look at their history. I'm not one that's going to doubt them too much anymore. I'm just going to say that, okay? Maybe we need to put like a 15, 20 year, if you want to wait that long, rule on whether we call a conspiracy theorist crazy or not. Because so far, they're at a 90% success rate on the, and this is amazing. And even though it's a celebrity story, it's a music story, it's a rock and roll story, sad ending and all that other stuff. It goes to show you, though, how many people have asked questions seeking the truth. The reason why conspiracy theorists and theories exist out there is because people don't feel like they're getting the real truth. Certainly not from the media. Good God, no, not from politicians. In many cases, not police departments or investigators. That's why these theories pop up, and that's why people like this forensic study on Curt Cobain's death happen to seek the truth. I'm not going to doubt the conspiracy theorists on anything anymore until I give them a little bit of time. Unless they throw that out there just to cause more damage and more pain to people. Because keep an eye on that story. Unbelievable. And now because of this, because of those independent researchers and that science journal has reopened the Curt Cobain case on their own, now the official case is being reopened. Wow. All right, let's get out of it for a second. Too much CSI crime scene stuff for me. Let's talk about what's going on in the news. Trump did an interview with Larry Kudlow, the business anchor. Larry, what's the deal, Larry Kudlow? And he asked some good questions, mainly about voter ID and the SAVE Act. Lots of bills in Congress, but mainly about the SAVE Act. I got to tell you, this is the most hopeful I've heard President Trump say about the SAVE Act and voter ID in quite some time. Maybe he knows he's got the votes to pass it. But anyway, this was yesterday with Larry Kudlow.
Do we have other things in mind? Yeah, we do. We have things in mind. And we have perfecting a little bit of what we did, because this is the biggest bill ever passed in the history of Congress. And it's a great thing. But we also have other bills we want to get. We want to get the Save America Act passed. Save America is on voting. We want people to have voter ID. We want people to have proof of citizenship. And we want to have no mail-in ballots other than if you're in the military or you're sick or you're away or some reasonable but good excuse.
Can that get done, you think, before the midterm elections?
It polls at about 94%, including Democrats are at 87%.
He usually says, if you follow Trump closely, he usually starts talking about something he wants done. When he pivots right to what the polls say, it's usually if he has a tell, that's one of them. That means, usually it works out this way, he's using the polls and the popularity of a certain thing that he aligns with to force politicians to go along with it. That's usually how he works on this whole stuff. So going by that guess, it sounds like he's pretty confident this is going to get the votes. Now, speaking of the votes, this is why I always tell you, if I've learned anything through following news and media and all this crap for so many years, I'm telling you, and I will say this till the day I'm gone, it's not a Democrat-Republican thing. It's not blue-red. It's not donkey and elephant. It's crooks and non-crooks. And unfortunately, we have more crooks than we have non-crooks. There's it's the litmus test of whether you're a crook or not, whether you want to cheat elections or not, whether you're just interested in power and not the constituents you're supposed to represent. If you oppose voter ID, it's for one reason and one reason only. You want to cheat elections. That's it, because you don't think you're going to get elected otherwise. That's the only reason why, and that'll never, ever change. Now, you would think every Republican in Congress is going to be for the SAVE Act, right? Oh, no. Oh, no. Don't assume that. Plenty of crooks on that side, too. Case in point, Senator Lisa Murkowski, quote-unquote Republican from Alaska. She's a no vote. Isn't that something? Why is that? Well, she's claiming because of the photo ID portion of it. I'm not going to try to, I don't know what the explanation, but who the hell can't get a voter ID? Who the hell can't get a photo ID? It's almost impossible not to be able to get one in this society. So she's against it. Again, I'll use finger quotes, Republican. You know who's for it? Who's going to vote for it? John Fetterman, quote unquote, Democrat, votes for it. He might be the only, I swear to you, the only honest Democrat that's actually in Congress right now. Fetterman's going to vote for it because he sees the common sense in it. So again, I'm telling you, when it comes to this thing, and it's the most beautiful argument of all, let's hope to God it passes because it's the only shot we have of possibly saving elections in this country. But the great thing is it's the ultimate litmus test. Crooks or non-crooks. If you are a crook, you're going to vote against voter ID in the SAVE Act. It's that simple. I know that sounds oversimplified. I get it. I totally do. But it's that simple. It's not by party lines. It's just not. It's crook and non-crook. Even if it's some of your favorite politicians you thought were on the level. Well, let's find out. Let's find out if they are or not. See how they vote on this thing. All right, let's get an Olympics update. Do I have a medal count for you? How's the USA doing? No idea. I have absolutely no idea. I saw a little bit of curling yesterday on the TV because everybody loves to see that. That became a big popular thing because it's so silly. That's one of the beer sports, right? Curling's one of the curling fascinates me because it's you know that this started with a bunch of drunk guys somewhere. I don't know. I think it originated in Scandinavia, but we adopted it, of course. It's big in Michigan. It's big in Wisconsin, Minnesota, who we'll talk about in a second. Like, how did curling come to? You throw the stone, you brush it with a broom. It's like two drunk guys in a bar who are outside a frozen lake in maybe upper Wisconsin somewhere sometime. And they said, hey, let's throw this stone down there and let's see who gets it further. And somebody goes, hey, I can make this better. Give me that broom in the corner and I'll sweep it and then I'll try to steer the thing. So I think that's the appeal of curling. I have not watched a lot of Winter Olympics because I will be completely and totally honest with you. You may think this is childish. You may think this is ridiculous. I'm tired of the Olympians talking. There have been some great ones. Lindsey Vonn, that's been fantastic. There have been that American figure skater, that dude won, and he was all proud of the country and all this other stuff. If there's any sporting event where you're supposed to drape yourself in your country's flag, I don't care whether it's France or England or Finland or the United States or Canada, this is when you're supposed to. Which is why it bothers me so much that we have so many whiny U.S. athletes. Are athletes from any other country whining about their border? Are any athletes from any other country, maybe they are, complaining about the situation back home? And it's tough. It's just tough for me. And I'm telling you, if we don't fix the communications department from the U.S. Olympic team, the U.S. Olympic Committee, whoever's in charge of controlling media for this, the U.S. Summer Olympics in L.A. are going to be a freaking mess. You just wait. Because you have to tell these people to shut up at some point. NFL teams do it. NBA teams do it. They try. NHL, MLB, they try to direct their athletes to not get in trouble and say stupid things. And this is a stupid thing. We have another whiny athlete. Lo and behold, happens to be a curler. Curling. Like, do your sweepy ice thing and stop talking about the country. But no, they can't. They have a microphone in front of their face, so they feel entitled to do it. Again, any other athletes from countries doing this kind of thing? I don't think so.
First of all, I'd like to say I'm proud to be here to represent Team USA and to represent our country. But we'd be remiss if we didn't at least mention what's going on in Minnesota and what a tough time it's been for everybody. This stuff is happening right around where we live. And I am a lawyer, as you know, and we do we have a constitution, and it allows us to freedom of the press and freedom of speech, protects us from unreasonable searches and seizures.
Nowhere, okay, Mr. Lawyer, curler, he's a curling lawyer. Doesn't mean he's a good lawyer. Doesn't mean he passed top of the class. Where in your state or federal U.S. Constitution does it say that you have a right to be here illegally? Where does it say that the federal government does not have a right then, Mr. Lawyer Curler, to go in and grab a rapist or a murderer off the street that's here illegally and deport them? Where does it say? And you claim to be a lawyer. Really? Is that right? Okay. And you do have you know what? You do have a right. You have every right in the world. I will defend your right to sit there at that press conference and say what you have to do. It doesn't mean you freaking have to do it. Shut up. Nothing you're saying is helping. All you're doing is causing more controversy, and all you're doing is disparaging your other Olympic athletes because people like me are tuning out and they're not watching your stupid little curling game or the other awesome things like skiing or hockey. I don't know what the ratings are, but I mean, there's plenty of people tuning out because they don't want to hear these idiots anymore. Tired of it. Shut up. This is not the time to do it. This is not the time and place. If you want to do that at your local Minnesota curling event or the quarterfinals or whatever the hell it is you do back in the States, great, do it. This ain't it. This is not it to start whining about politics on the international stage. Shut up. And whoever the hell is in charge of the Olympic Committee Communications Media Department needs to get fired yesterday for this. They are off. Somebody needs to look into this. Shut up. And of course, it's going to get spun by saying, "Oh, Trump wants to silence athletes, and he's a dictator and a fascist." No, smart countries would not put up with this because this is not the stage. And thankfully, great past and current U.S. Olympians are saying, this is the time to drape yourself in the flag. This is time to show American respect. Not this stage, not this moment, not this time. But they can't help themselves because they're sitting there at a conference table and they have a microphone like this in front of them, and they think that what they say is so important, right? That's what I'm a lawyer and I'm on the U.S. curling team. So I would be remiss by talking about what's going on back home near my home in Minnesota. Not the time, not the place, you absolute D-bag. Shut up and don't do that on foreign soil. Do it back home if you want. You have every right in the world. This ain't it. This is not it. All right. Thanks for finding me. I appreciate you. As always, the Wicked Radio Podcast live stream, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. X, Facebook, YouTube, audio podcast version. Thanks so much for the audio podcast version downloads. Audio's still king. It surprised me too, but it does, and that's going great. Wherever you like to get the podcast, it gets posted right after we go live here, and the replay on all those same channels. So I appreciate you so much. Again, don't doubt here's the big takeaway today, because of all these crime scene stories. Let's just take a couple of beats the next time we laugh at conspiracy theorists, because so far they've been pretty right. Don't have to believe them 100%. But let's give them a little bit of extra elbow room here. I'm giving them some, because this Curt Cobain thing is something to listen to. And even the Nancy Guthrie story, too. It's because we seek information. That part of it is not a bad thing. All right. Thanks for finding me. I appreciate you. Make it a wicked awesome Wednesday. Talk to you tomorrow.